I was a very, very shy kid, and I think that that was kind of like my way of coping, was to kind of isolate and to just draw and to kind of allow myself to daydream and spend a lot of time like in my internal world, which I think allowed me to develop kind of a rich internal life. And spend a lot of time kind of reading and thinking and observing, because if I was too scared to engage or like raise my hand or talk to people or something, then it was easier just to watch. I think that that allowed me to be a better artist in a way, because I think that it is all about observation and about understanding people and empathizing with them. And I think when you observe them and can kind of stand back and see things for what they are, or question their inherent truth and like find a new truth within them, and that allows you to create fuel for what you want to make art about. And when you're quieter, it allows you to hear those things. I feel like the artist, in a way, that's sort of our job. We're sort of paid for our ability to notice and to see those things that other people don't. Sometimes it's not always about, well, not always, I mean, it can be, but sometimes it's not always about like making something, but it is more about like framing something and deciding what to look at and what not to look at. Why should we pay attention to this everyday thing that maybe normal other people don't, but then maybe if we look at it or frame it in a different way, we can see something that like sheds a new light. Yeah, a pose of a person or something in a photograph or a snapshot could say something more about like their state of mind that day than anything else. Or what they're experiencing, or the place around them, or like the wind could be hitting their hair and you'd have a good sense of space, of place. And that's what we're here to do, I guess, is to like create that. When you are the observer, there can sometimes be a sense of being small, I think, because there's a lot of other big voices around and people who are stronger in like their personas. And I think that we're all like, when we're making art, I think that we inherently just always come from our point of view and how we see the world. And I've thought a lot about like good enough, improving yourself. Like, who are you trying to prove it to? Sometimes I think that it is always besting yourself, and sometimes with design stuff, I'll get caught up in like, is it good enough? Of like, oh, I could just do another thing, and like, when to know when to stop. Sometimes like I can just re-edit and re-edit and re-edit, and yeah, and then I have to ask myself like, who's saying whether it's good enough? Like. So it's good to have those like reality checks, because you can sometimes, I don't know, like you are trying to impress yourself. You're trying to always one-up yourself. There's a useful part of that for like self-improvement, I suppose, but it can be negative. I think you can beat yourself up, and that's no good for the creative process. So you have to be careful with that. But it's a careful line of knowing when to fight and when not to. Because some things can be saved, and some things need a little bit of tweaking, and it's something to dig deeper in, because there can be something beautiful within that you can pull out. But there's other times where you can fight and it doesn't go anywhere, and you have to. It's listening to your gut and knowing when to let go. Another thing about how much I've learned through painting is going through that creative process teaches you so much about listening to that gut in yourself, that allows you also to connect with people. So I think that it kind of helps you in your relationships with everything throughout your life, and knowing like you have to be very self-aware and attuned with your emotional life. And it's practice. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a bad painting that didn't teach me something, even if I realized that what I was doing was bad. It's like, that's still something that it's taught me. I've had like ideas for paintings that have been sitting around for a long time, and they'll change and evolve, but then they won't ever really like go away until I sit down and resolve it in some way. With creating art, you do have to trust yourself, and that's so much part of it. Like trust your decision making, and it can be really hard sometimes, because self-doubt is so much part of like making art too, and questioning yourself and your decision making. But then ultimately you do have to just like let that go in order to make something. I use a lot of photography in my work. I photograph all the time, but I never paint from the photo though. I do, but like I don't usually, it's always altered. They're all like fictional places. Maybe they're based off of a memory or a place that kind of like starts somewhere, and then kind of let the imagination alter it and change it, and then I kind of curate the composition the way I want, and the painting has the ability to do that. I think that the reason why I love painting so much is painting is the meeting place between the imagination and a reality, observed reality. Through the hand, you're kind of interpreting the thing that you're seeing, and it's never going to be exactly like that thing. And then I sort of, instead of just like painting, like taking a photo and then painting it, I just kind of like, I sort of use photos as a tool, and I mix them up. And I like use different things, and I make things up. And sometimes a painting will take like, 15 different photos that are all like stitched together, and the perspective isn't right, and I alter the horizon line, and I'll make the perspective off, or the lighting is wrong, and because it's more about feeling and atmosphere than it is about like trying to create reality. But in my paintings, though, I do paint realistically, so I am playing with a sense of reality. But I think the reason why that approach works is because the unreality of the image, painted in a realistic way, kind of brings about the uncanny aspects. I guess uncanny would be something like going about your day and feeling like something is slightly off, or like you go along your walk in a day where everything's the same, and then all of a sudden like a tree was cut down and you feel like, oh, this doesn't feel like my walk anymore. Like the sense of the unfamiliar. Yeah, so I think I'm kind of trying to play with that feeling and trying to capture that feeling. My name is Alex Roulette. I'm a painter, a record collector, and a postcard enthusiast.